SkullFace Records Radio. Teaming up with KPRIS. The
And boom, episode 1, the Transparent Podcast. I'd like to thank everyone that's tuning in and watching episode 1. This has been a long time coming. We've been discussing this. I'm in the studio with my main man, Travis Franklin. He's like the local ghost lord of the land. If I say that, a lot of people might say, you know, they know more about this or they know more about that. But I know recently we've had some crazy encounters with some weird shit going on around our studio, around the house, and the first person I think about to help me or answer questions or to just talk about the stuff with is Travis Franklin, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm doing good, man. I have like I said, I've been getting some lashings to the ears because a lot of people is a big fan of the paranormal, of the unexplainable, and they were anxious for this show to get started. So, man, I've been getting the kick in the ass to get this going. So, I'm sure a lot of people is going to be really pleased to be right here with episode 1, man. I know doing a podcast is something you've wanted to do for a long time as well, right?
Oh, yeah. I've been planning for it for a while, and of course, you know, the stars aligned with us, so here we are.
Here we fucking are, man. It's sounding dandy. What do you think about them headphones you got on and that mic sound, man? You sound so damn sexy.
Sounds sick.
Yeah.
Some people just don't understand how sexy a microphone can make you sound. So we're going to dig into all kinds of cool stuff, man. I know over the past like 2 weeks, I've interacted with you here and there because you know where you work's right across the street from the studio, and you've said you've been getting a lot of calls, a lot of help, a lot of weird stuff going on. Do you think, like, is Cynthiana really growing into a paranormal hotbed for a lot of different things going on in this area?
I wouldn't say it's growing. I'd say it always has been.
Oh, and now it's just kind of coming to surface.
I think probably the, increased interest in it's probably, more cameras, more of them people are noticing more shit going on. So.
More ability to be able to actually prove it instead of just having like a wild story.
And then, of course, the interest in the shows and everything. I think people pay more attention now, and, so more awareness.
Has anything just really insanely, something that maybe you haven't seen before, you haven't encountered before, happened any time recently with any of these encounters that's been going on?
Not. I've kind of been there, done.
Kind of the same old.
Yeah, things knock, move, lights, whatever.
Well, I hit you up. It was probably, I don't know. Well, last night I talked to you about something that happened, but a week and a half ago, I was laying in my bed. I was sleeping. It was the middle of the night, like nothing was going on, and this huge dresser that has to be like close to 200 pounds just flips on its side. And I got up and I didn't know what the hell to do. I didn't know what it was at first. I kick on the light and I notice that the dresser's over. So I try to pick it back up, and when I'm picking it back up, it feels like there's something like some other type of force on the other side fucking with it too. And it really kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies because I'd never had anything like that happen before.
I've never heard. That's probably the most forceful thing I've ever heard.
It was weird as hell, man. And it's not the first time though that I've had something move in an odd way though, but that's a different story. So let's fast forward after that incident. It's probably 4 days. My wife's here in the studio, and she says that there was rattling in the lights, flickering in some lights with nothing being messed up, and then everything shut off. Am I telling that right? So that freaked her out and us, but who knows? But then last night was fucked up.
Oh, I have not heard this.
Well, I kind of mentioned it to you. Last night was fucked up. I was back down here at the studio, and my wife was home, and my daughter was getting ready for bed, and she was in the bathroom, and said that she saw a shadow person with white eyes.
Yeah, you didn't tell me this.
Yeah. And that's not like my daughter to tell anything weird. Like, and if she was telling a joke or trying to be silly, she would have came forth with that immediately. Like, she would have went, got you.
Tend to laugh, can't contain it, really.
Yeah, she still was all about, what was up, and it kind of freaked us out, man. And then I talked to you for a little bit, and I did a little research on the shadow thing, and I came to find out that there's not really any good ones.
No.
If it's something like that, there's something negative in the air.
It's pretty much considered universally to be negative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what we did, and we'll have a short clip we'll throw in here because my wife took footage last night of it, as we took what did we have? We had sage. We had this big sage stick ball thing of stuff. And we lit it up, and I went in all the corners and just kind of, we aired out the house. Like, we opened up all the windows. We just aired out the house basically, and walked around with it a little bit. And we both thought, she mentioned it, and I agreed that we both felt like it was a little bit more of a after we got finished.
And a lot of it relies on your thought process and intent to it. So
yeah,
I
don't know anything. Like I said, the first time my wife used sage, she almost burnt down the house. So I was like, you probably shouldn't use that shit. Like, this might be bringing in some demons. Like, who knows?
Gotta have the shell and the feather, man.
This is where we've seen him, right?
Where you at?
I think we're good.
But last night it gave us a sense of relief, I suppose. And we've went on about our business, and I don't feel like we've this morning there wasn't anything, but who knows, you know what I'm saying? But this is just kind of, I don't know, man. Like, this is the first time that something in succession has ever happened, especially to my family.
Man, I've had to deal with it so much. I feel for you, but I'm so used to it. I'm jaded.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had so much stuff at my house. It's just crazy. Of course,
What
not the
would-
nature of what I do. But
Well, okay, let's say you had the same situation. Let's say you had all three of these situations happened. What would you have done to maybe create a better vibe in the house compared to what we tried to do?
again, most of it's intent. It's your thought. It's kind
Like,
of
you
similar.
just do it and you believe in it.
Yeah, you gotta just put that intent and I guess the thoughts out in the environment, and you just gotta believe what you're doing is working and roll with it. Really, that comes down to a lot of times religiously beliefs or things of that nature.
That makes sense, dude. We are we're gonna cut, dude. We're already through the first segment. We're gonna cut to a really quick commercial. We're gonna pay a few bills, listen to some silly shit that we do commercial wise, and we'll be right back with a lot more of Transparent Podcast with myself, Travis Franklin, and there might be some ghosts in here somewhere too. Who knows?
Probably.
We'll be right back. I'm Travis Franklin, and I'm Nick Nasty. We're not wearing pants.
I'm Travis Franklin.
I'm Nick Nasty, and you're watching the Transparent Podcast on SkullFace Records Radio. and we're back. The transparent fucking podcast. Like I said, I'm super excited about getting this rolling, man. I've always been interested in paranormal stuff, you know, the unexplainable, going to different eerie-ass places and just having the heebie-jeebies scared out of me. I was telling you earlier, I was like, if I ever really had something embrace me that I didn't understand, I would hope to think that I would make the most of the situation. With that being said, what's the like most interaction, like direct interaction with yourself, do you think that you've had with something that you couldn't explain what was communicating with you?
Pick one.
Yeah.
I've got a ton.
Let's hear one. This is exciting to me.
I guess notably seeing something move. I saw at the Ross. Saw the door
Ooh,
shut
at the
in front
Ross
of me.
Opera House, Cynthiana, Kentucky?
Yep. Haunted as hell. Love that place. If you like hauntings, go there.
We will be talking about that place a ton. They'll hear us talk about that a million times.
Yep. Hometown haunt.
Mm-hmm.
I guess most interactive, and I even have a photo, was an orb grabbing a hold of my shirt.
Ooh.
I have been touched, you know, all that stuff several times, but we did actually catch that on photo, so that was pretty neat.
Was that at Ross as well, or was that somewhere else?
Yeah.
Okay.
And recent thing that happened, they sold off all their chairs and redid their seating.
We seen that. You know, I'm right across the street from the backside, and I seen them sneaking in the new big comfy seats. These big old movie, you know, fancy movie theater seats. They look super comfy. Yeah, so they're selling all their other seats for $20 a piece. You got a couple for one of your podcast setups.
Yes, I did.
How crazy is that?
I believe that they're in the image with the orb. So
you actually have the chairs that are in the segment where you have the orb grab you by the arm.
It's grabbing a hold of my t-shirt.
Right on your t-shirt.
Yep, right a hold of my shirt.
Wow, do you think that was meant to be? Do you feel like you brought anything with you with those chairs?
I can't tell, man. I got shit with me everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm. So you don't know which way it's coming from?
Nah, I've got 8 or 10 that are there all the time. I call them familiars.
Are the chairs comfy? Can you sit on them comfortable?
Yeah, same as they were in the theater. I mean, they're pretty good.
If you're sitting next to a big guy like me, are we going to be like rubbing butts?
Hopefully.
Probably rubbing butts in those seats. Man, I hope to do an investigation with you at Ross soon. But what do you think we will be investigating with this show? We're going to go into investigating different places, discussing where we're going to show the investigation. We're going to show the best that we can while we're there. And then we're going to discuss it, you know, the whole thing. It'll probably be like 3 or 4 shows with each area. What are some of the places that we're going to get to go? Because you're our leader when it comes to that for the most part. What do you think is going to be a couple of the spots that we're going to go and investigate here for this show?
I would say first and foremost, for obvious reasons, probably the Ross.
Yes.
And then we were going to put Perryville Battlefield was on the radar.
Perryville Battlefield.
That would be a good one.
Perryville Battlefield.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. What is that, like a war area, or I'm not really familiar with
biggest
it.
battle of the Civil War in Kentucky.
Oh,
Actually,
well, shit. Okay, so
Lincoln thought that it was going to be the decisive battle. He made a statement that to lose this battle will be to lose the war. So
holy shit. So that was a big deal. I must not have paid attention to history much when I was in school.
Man, I didn't know till I started researching this stuff either, so don't feel bad.
How many people approximately died there then during this? Do you have any idea?
I'm wanting to say they said 6,000, I think. 7,000, something like that.
So that's a whole lot of heebie-jeebie.
A lot of mojo there.
That's a whole lot of heebie-jeebie, man. I know over the last week or two, it's slowly, the weather's changing. We're going into fall season, which is Halloween season, which is one of my favorite, and I know it's your absolute favorite. You go balls to the wall when it comes to there, man. We're going to have so much fun showing off everything that you got going on during the Halloween season. I know that has it been for the past few years that you guys have done that lighting deal, the pumpkin lighting downtown?
Jack-o'-lantern spectacular.
The jack-o'-lantern spectacular.
Spooktacular,
mother lover.
Get it right.
How many, 2 years? Is this?
Yeah,
so it's going on the third year. I know last year it kind of rained a little bit, right? During there.
A little bit.
But it was amazing. We still went by it. It was really neat to see. It was really cool to have that in this town.
It's building up. It plays well with the setting at the courthouse and everything.
Well, I think this whole town is going to miss the ball if they don't understand that they can make so much money off making this just a big Halloween town.
That's kind of, we're in the talks. It might happen. Yeah, we've got some big plans maybe getting ready to roll out.
That's super interesting, man, because you got the Ross Theater. I know next door where I work on the weekend, shout out to Legends Bar and Events, the funnest and coolest bar in Cynthiana. Big old plug there for the guys next door. They said they've had paranormal activity next door and was flirting with the idea of having us come over there and do an investigation at their bar. And then, like I said, my wife said that this place right here has had some shit happen, you know.
We've had shit over at the shop.
So
I've
it's
had
this,
shit when I worked at Red
It's this
State.
whole block. It's this whole block. It's this whole downtown.
Hell, it's all the way out at the square. That area, there's farms and things they raided.
See, I think we should
there.
we should lay out a whole map and just investigate every spot, go spot to spot and spotlight and show the community and people outside of the community how much is really going on here when it comes to that. I think some of them are kind of ignorant to it because it's not in their face. Like they hear about this or they hear about that. But when it comes down to it, man, like this is a haunted town.
Very. That's my opinion, which of course I live here. I'm more exposed to it, but I've never seen anywhere. I'm an empath and all that, but I don't get the same vibes in other towns that you get here. It's pretty unique town, man. It's pretty crazy.
So we said the Raws, the Perryville Battlefield. Are those the two main attractions when it comes to it in your head, or is there other ones that are kind of little honey hoes that are really, really active areas in this town as well?
Well, this town, it comes down to graveyards and things.
All the graveyards?
A lot of it. And, of course, if you get the private people, they have plenty of haunted houses around.
Oh, yeah.
I've investigated, so.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, I guess otherwise, as far as attractions, you're probably talking like Bobby Mackey's and Waverly and so forth.
And we'll be right back with more Transparent Podcast. Subscribe and share SkullFace Records /YouTube to follow all your favorite podcasts. Pinfalls and Power Chords, starring Nichimes and Michael Lynn Watkins. Joe's Kitchen, starring Juicy Jimmy and Nichimes, and the star of the show, Joe Lucas. That One Time on Bandcamp, starring Ronnie Kenner and Nick Himes. From Parts Unknown, starring Nick Himes and Juicy Jimmy.
SkullFace Records.
We're back. Transparent Podcast, man. I get weird feelings, man, when we discuss this kind of. It's this and aliens. Even when I was a kid, like I'd watch shows about scary stuff, or I'd watch the alien shows, and it weirdly puts like this weird hypno over me in the back of my head a little bit, like I'm in like a different, I don't know, thought process or something when it comes to it. One thing we were talking when we were on break just now, listening to some really rad-ass SkullFace Records commercials, was house calls and home calls. Because like we were saying, there's a lot of big-name places to go to get your ghost thrills and stuff, the Bobby Mackeys, the Waverlys. But you were saying sometimes the most fulfilling deals is going into houses and helping people with whatever they're dealing with in their house.
Not much better out there, man, when somebody calls and they're scared and they don't understand. And I mean, you can't call the cops or the fire department or who do you call? And it's, the cliche Ghostbusters, who you going to call? But it is legit that way.
It's great to have somebody like that.
It always feels great, if you can help them in their situation. You get that thanks, got my life back and all that. And it's rewarding as hell, man. It's a great feeling.
Well, on the dark side of that, though, Travis, is there anybody that's, needed help and asks you to come there, and then once you get there, you're like, oh, shit. Like
there's been oh shit, but I've not
had
problems like handling it or whatever yet.
Yeah, so you've never met anything that you couldn't deal with?
Not yet.
That's good then.
So have had some rough cases, had some repeat, had to follow through and do some more things. But.
So like somebody was getting haunted, you came there, thought it was all good, it calmed down for a little bit, but then shit started hitting the fan again. What does that? Does the spirits like possibly just go into like what would you say, like a hibernation phase or something, or like I wonder what would cause that.
My experience, one of the most common things that I find is that I get a lot of hey, we called our preacher over and he sprinkled some water or whatnot, and then a week later shit went haywire, or we did the smudge thing with the sage, and and everything's going crazy. And it's just like I said, we were talking earlier, it's a lot of intent and all that, and just if you just go in there and just do some stuff and you don't have any belief or faith or real intention behind it, it's just going to ramp them up, and a lot of the times they'll back off and energize and then come and haunt the hell out of you.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting to like, hey, don't just go out there trying to do some stuff thinking you know what you're doing, because you could end up with some big issues.
That's where
you don't know how to deal with.
It's a lot of what I do is come in and try to figure out exactly what it is we're dealing with and how to approach it properly.
How many house calls do you think approximately do you think you've had here in Cynthiana? Like, is it a pretty big issue?
And yeah, it's big enough. It's been 12 years, and I'd say average probably 20 cases a year, maybe 25, somewhere in there.
I mean, that's 240 to 300 cases. Wow.
Been a few.
That's unbelievable, man. I know, my wife grew up here from 5th grade on. I grew up in a town next to us, Paris. And there's just always been a lot of different haunting stuff. Like the house that her parents live in used to be a barn that they used to party in when she was in high school. And she said there's just all kinds of weird stuff that's went on there. And hasn't your mom also said that she's experienced some stuff since it was renovated into their house? See, that would be interesting to go out there and investigate.
Mm-hmm. I missed out, too. I wanted to do the TB hospital up there, but, of course, they tore it down before I ever got to it.
It tore it down, man. I think that it's been long enough that I won't go to jail for it. But when I was 12, me and a couple of badass friends of mine,
Google statute of limitations.
We walked into that place, man, and was raising all kinds of hell, and we caught like the whole top floor on fire.
Wow.
And when we were walking out, the fire department was going in to get it all out and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And it stood up for about another 10 years after that.
I didn't have shit to do with
this. I'll bludge it all out. That's good, the magic of edits.
I did not know this guy.
That place was the heebie-jeebies, though, man. Like, I did something. We used to go in there all the time and just kind of run around and shit, man. And it was somewhere where we thought that, we could smoke cigarettes and nobody'd see us and all that when we were kids. And I left something in there, and I went back by myself to get it. And going in there by myself compared to going in there with my buddies was completely different. I mean, it was that high telling and high kicking and jumping in your bed type scared. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like I was like, oh, jubity. Do you ever feel scared anymore, or are you kind of used to it enough that you kind of embrace it easily?
Well, I'd say I'm a little more jaded than most people are, so I handle it pretty well, but I still get the times that, it scare the hell out of you sometimes.
Do you ever jump like, ah?
I think we caught it on tape probably. The last time we went to Ross, I got a little scratch on my back. Yeah, I kind of jumped a little.
Man, I hated having to miss that, man. When do you think we need to plan? This is what I think we need to do. We need to plan an investigation and go and show the fans what we're about and what you're about and how we go about investigating a place. Where do you think we should go in the next week or so and actually just set up and take some time and try to get some good footage?
We can find somewhere. Maybe might be able to squeeze into Ross, or maybe out to the bridge. Go to Colville Bridge.
Well, I've been talking about that. Like I said, we drive by that daily on our way to Millersburg when we go up there, and something about it's been intriguing me. Like every time I go by the sign, I'm like, hey, I'd like to go out there. I'd like to visit out there. And I know you were telling a pretty interesting story about you and another guy that had went to that area, and you guys actually you guys captured the same image. Would you like to elaborate on that real quick?
Yeah, sure. So about 5 years ago or so, I captured an image of some kind of weird misty thing with like tentacles coming off, and they kind of came into commas at the end, I guess, if you call it that.
Like an alien squid type.
Yeah, like some Tim Burton shit.
Yeah.
But I got that image, and the straight end of it went on the locals will know what I mean. The long straight stretch side of the bridge. It was above the right top of the roof of it up there. About 3 years after that, my friend Chris got a picture of the exact same damn thing on the other end of the bridge, kind of half in and out of the door on the right side of it. So that's weird.
That's real weird.
It wasn't a swarm of gnats or some cigarette smoke.
It's like something. It's like
shit.
Something's living there. Is that something that's common? Because like I said, I'm coming to you with like the kind of like you know a lot more about this than I do. I'm just very open to it, and I'm trying to take it in the best I can. But do you find that like some places, like you've been in Ross a few places, you've been to this bridge a few times, do you find that sometimes the same entities are in the same places? Like that's their hangout. Like that's their area.
Yep, definitely. Ross proves that to me over and over. Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people like they claim stake, and they're like, this is where I'm doing my shit in the afterlife.
Kind of seems to be the thing. Yeah.
Man, that's insane, dude. We're going to touch more on some local haunts and stuff, man. We're here with the ghost hunting legend, Travis Franklin. I'm Nichimes. This is Transparent Podcast, and we'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ryan the Lion. If you want to check out me and my music and my new podcast, Nick's Mayhem Music Review, go to SkullFace Records.
SkullFace Records Radio.
Boom, we're back. Transparent Podcast, SkullFace Records Radio, Episode 1. Man, it's been a ton of fun.
Finally.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
I think what we should do is next podcast, we should be out in the field.
How about out in a bridge?
Wow, a bridge. That's a good one.
A haunted bridge.
How do you pronounce it correctly? Do you have the correct pronunciation of this bridge?
I'm native redneck, so we call it Colville.
Colville.
I've heard it Colville, but there's no E. It's Colville.
Mm-hmm. So this is going to be interesting. I've not been out there before. He's been out there a ton of times. We're going to investigate this. We're going to film it. We're going to show it to you guys. We're going to come back and we're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about everything that happened for that. We might do it. I mean, I don't know if we're just going to go out there one time or twice, whatever's needed for it to make the best investigation and try to, maybe we'll get, dude, if we take a picture of what you guys took a picture of.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Man, that would be crazy.
That'd be awesome.
See,
I told you.
Yeah, that would be a whole lot of fun. So we're excited about this. We're excited about getting this podcast going. We're going to be going into a lot of places. Like I said, the purpose of this podcast is to be transparent with behind the scenes and what's going on with these investigations, these paranormal investigations around Cynthiana, Kentucky. We're going to go to tons of places around Cynthiana. We're going to investigate a ton of places, and we're going to be completely transparent with our audience. And we're going to tell exactly what happened, and we're going to give, we're just going to try to drop the best knowledge and give and give a little bit of props to all these places that people might not know about. Because like you were saying, man, people don't understand how many places in this town has activity.
And the truth be told, I mean, honestly, I think the whole damn town's haunted. It is.
The whole thing could be haunted.
I have not been to a place yet in this town where somebody said, I think I've got some shit going on, that I didn't walk away with evidence.
Wow.
So, not one.
See, and that's what we want to show people, and that's what we wanted to, and that's why we're doing this show. Give a shout out to your gang members. I'm one of the gang. I'm a gang member.
I probably said that half-assed on the mic. It's KPRIS.
Boom.
Kentucky Paranormal Investigation Research Society.
Absolutely, man. Going in, and how many investigations you got under your belt, you think?
Gotta be 250, 300, something like that.
Boom, because he's the
It's
real
been 12
deal.
years.
He's the real deal, and I'm doing a podcast with him, and episode 1's done. We will see you guys at the Colville investigation with episode 2. We'll be back. Transparent Podcast, SkullFace Records Radio. Peace.